and it promises to be a tribunal hearing every bit as combustible as the incident itself. The opening minutes of a final series is going to dictate so much of what's to come when Brayden Maynard goes before the tribunal tomorrow night.
It's a physically demanding game, and you have these split seconds to make decisions, and then we'll spend hours reviewing it.
Brayshaw, oh, he was met solidly after he got rid of it.
I just think this is a football action.
What else can he do?
What else could he have done?
Nothing in this for me.
Once you're airborne, you can't change your trajectory.
It is a legal action.
There's nothing malicious in that contact.
Didn't look like it had much malice.
They're a pretty shattered player in there.
It's a footy act. I came forward, I jumped to smother the ball, and yeah, unfortunately, I just got him on the way down. So, I don't know, we'll have to wait and see what happens, but it's all love. I absolutely love that guy to bits. So, yeah, it's shattering what happened.
He is in such a bad way. He's not playing in the grand final, Maynard. If he's got him high, yeah.
Two extremes here. One, it's either completely accidental, or two, Maynard's final series ends tonight.
Well, I'm not sure what more Maynard can do. He's going at the ball, he's trying to smother, and then he just braces for contact.
In my view, there is nothing in this because you have a duty of care to yourself to protect yourself as you come to land.
Can you punish a player for jumping up in the air trying to spoil, given what happened at the back end of it?
I don't think there's anything Brayden Maynard can do there. You can't expect him to stop in midair. You've got no feet on the ground.
If it comes out and we say that this is an acceptable footy action, then we have to accept that that now can happen in any game.
Agreed.
You can run and jump to spoil and take someone out and knock them out.
Yeah, look, you can only go by the facts. You jumped off the ground and knocked the guy out. So, I guess time will tell.
We are now 4 days on from the incident itself, and what I absolutely know, Robbo, is that this belongs at the tribunal. This needs to be fully heard and fully tested tomorrow night.
Yeah, and it will be. The AFL wants a suspension. They wouldn't have sent it to Laura Kane, wouldn't have sent it to the tribunal otherwise. They're not just here to hear all the evidence. They put it there because match review officer Michael Christian said no, he hasn't got a case to answer, and the AFL said yes, he has. So it's gone there. So they're fully... The question is what they're going to ask for, Jared. 4 weeks, 3 weeks? We'll find out tomorrow night when the case starts. But just listening to the former footballers and everyone who has just followed football across the years has got an opinion on whether he should go or not. But as the days have planned out, there's been a deeper, I suppose, assessment of what happened. I still in the camp of I think he should not be suspended. But I fully accept, when I listen to everyone talk about the last action of him turning his shoulder, I accept that that is going to be the triggering point of the discussion. But I honestly believe that, you know, I think Patrick Dangerfield was one of them who said it there, you know, is there an instinct to protect yourself in that regard and do it as I described tonight in a click of the fingers?
So where does that balance against the duty of care owed to Brayshaw? So once Maynard leaves the ground, that makes contact inevitable. Is it foreseeable at that stage? I think it is.
To knock him out?
No, there's going to be a collision.
Yeah.
So at what point and it's on Maynard's terms, Maynard is the one who has left the ground going at Brayshaw. What duty of care does he owe Brayshaw in the way that he lands? Yeah, he chooses to turn his shoulder
there is
and
a duty
put
of care.
The full force of his body
there is a duty of care. We've been discussing it early in the year. I spoke to you early in the year, round one, when Jeremy Howe busted his arm. Did he have a duty of care to himself and Tyson Stengel? And everyone thought it was ridiculous. And we get to the one of the final games of the season, we're having a discussion about duty of care. Everything that played out led up to this collision. Like, this is no slight on Angus Brayshaw. He's got the ball, he's charging forward. Now, if he decided, and he didn't have time, instead of balking or propping, that would have stopped his momentum, that would have taken some steam out of it, but no, he had every right to kick the ball and continue with his momentum. Maynard had every right to run at the ball and jump and try and smother the ball. Because if he did smother it, Jared, you would have been calling and everyone would have said, what an inspiring act. OK, he missed the ball, so we go on to the next play, which is it going to be a collision? Yes, there is, and they collided. And this doesn't happen a lot in footy. I can't recall.
No.
I cannot recall anything like happening. We've had 2 1 million to 1 shots happen this year, and they've happened in 5 weeks. So, the debate, Jared, as you know, actually, I'll ask you a question. Do you think Maynard has a case of not having enough duty of care because he turned to either bump or brace or not put his hands out? Do you think he's got a duty of care to answer?
Yes, I feel like the question is what else could he do? I think the answer to that is anything other than what he did.
I know, but what else is it? What is he? Give me an example.
Hands out, anything other than this. So this is profoundly dangerous to Brayshaw. Now, that is where
is that self-protection?
Weigh the duty of care. Does he have a right to protect himself at the expense of Brayshaw?
Yeah, well, the collision's
initiated.
Yeah, no.
He chose to leave.
No, he initiated the act.
It's debated on the legal front tomorrow.
Yeah, he initiated the act to smother. So yeah, but you're allowed to smother.
The act to smother is
and
that
jump.
of a reasonable player. Is the way that he did it prudent in the circumstances once he gets here?
It's 1 in a million. It's 1 in a million, and I feel really bad for Angus Brayshaw. But he has got... Maynard's got every right to try and jump and spoil the ball. Every right. Now, that follows through. Now, this is where I'm really going to be curious, and we're all curious. What is the tribunal members going to decide at the end? I don't know if it's not cut and dried one way or the other, but I think everyone's interested in what's going to happen.
Yeah. So one of the premises that it's been at play all year at the tribunal is, was this head injury avoidable? So you sort of have to frame everything else underneath that. So Maynard's actions, those of a reasonable player, certainly in that. But then the
human instinct to protect himself.
Yeah, but that's where it gets to the duty of care.
But has he got a duty of care first for himself? Does he give that off? Does he pass it off because he jumped to spoil? So he hands the duty of care off himself as more important for Angus Brayshaw?
He's made the critical choice. So once
you're allowed to make the critical choice to jump.
Once he's up, it's all on his terms. Brayshaw is as defenceless as a player can be in that moment. He's already kicked the ball and the bloke's going to land on him. It's all on what Maynard does next. And so this is why it's such an important test case.
Instinct. They're humans. They're not robots, mate, to switch on and off.
And this is why you want to hear the whole case before... So
there's angst in the air. There's angst in the air.
There is. So just before we get to the angst, the idea that this is legal, so this was debated on Couch at length, that's not right. The umpire paid prohibited contact in the moment that it happened downfield, and he reported Maynard on the spot.
Yeah, no, that was...
So he saw
it was a late
rough conduct.
Yes, it was...
So the idea that this is all perfectly legal and it's not captured in the rules, that's not right. The officiating umpire saw it as a breach of the rules
free kick
in the
downfield.
instant that... and reported him.
Free kick downfield. Yeah, it was a free kick downfield.
So prohibited contact there, downfield, and reported for rough conduct.
It was an illegal act. Does he then get...
it was, in the estimation of the umpire, in the instant that it happened, it was outside the rules.
So, OK, so that's a reasonable point. So does that constitute, in your eyes, a 3-week or 4-week suspension?
No, it constitutes the case now being heard in its totality to test whether it was an accident or whether it was careless.
But the umpire's decided it's an illegal act for what happened because he paid the free kick downfield. The AFL is sitting at the tribunal and saying we want 3-week suspension or 4-week suspension. Are you in that camp that say... he should get 3 or 4?
It should be being heard in full.
Have you got a decision in your own thoughts?
But prior
what
to
will
hearing,
happen?
No, I don't know what will happen. I don't, because this is a bit like the McKay case. It's been put up by the AFL to test the extremes of its rules.
OK.
Are our rules written to capture this? We would like it to be, but we don't know whether it is or not.
Yeah, OK.
So we have to hear the case tomorrow night. What is the prosecution? What is the breach that they're pushing for? What is the defence, so that we can determine what is reasonable in the
circumstances? So you haven't got your gut feel?
No, I don't know what they will do.
No.
I have a leaning towards suspension.
A leaning towards suspension.
Yeah.
So I have a leaning towards not suspension, but I fully accept your argument, and I'm sure you fully accept my position. And this is where a lot of people in the footy world are thinking, right, there's not many people down the left of centre. It's just slight leaning to there and slight leaning to right. Now, there is angst, right? The Brayshaw camp They want a suspension. There's a few people close to Angus who believe that that was a deliberate act by Maynard to hurt Angus Brayshaw. So that's another layer to the legal complexities. And there's a concussion debate overall and looming potential costings of millions to players or payments to players. So that's another layer, but the emotional layer is there's a lot of angst. I wouldn't say it's outright anger, but there's a lot of angst that a player can get knocked out for 2 minutes, which is very emotive. And this is just a sport. And they want justice.
Yeah, Brayshaw was feeling anger on Thursday night. He wanted no part of Maynard at that point. We'll run this by our coaches who have been given instruction at various stages and they're left training their players on that.
I haven't heard from either of these two in the last
So we'll run
for a while.
past them next.
I actually rang Chris last week and he didn't ring me back.